It's just getting crazier, guys. And now we have the confirmation. And yes, I'm talking about Google. They have selected Ripple for the new banking system. We have the proof. You're going to want to watch this video to the end. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. You already know what to do. But we have to start this with the XRP price chart, because I keep showing you this for a reason. This is how you control your emotions and understand the possibilities of where the price can go. So when it happens, you won't panic. You won't be guessing. You'll say, Ripple told us about this, I'm not worried. You can say, I'm not afraid, because you shouldn't be. Look at this first arrow. We called the $1.60 range for you. We saw it get broken. We told you the next level is at $1.30. That's it. That's the range. That's the battlefield. We don't have to pretend it's complicated. Now check the RSI on the daily chart. Extremely oversold. It's sitting around 27. That is historically low for XRP. That's not hype. That's mathematics. When an asset is suppressed this much, there's usually a recovery. The bears are finally losing momentum. Sellers are exhausted. And when this is all over, and I'm telling you, I expect some kind of announcement within the next month, it's going to feel like this never happened. One day there's chaos. The next day, the chart bounces back, and everyone acts like it's brand new. XRP is back at $2, then $3. And suddenly people are screaming, holy crap, it's altcoin season, buckle up, focus, let's go. Because everyone knows this man. Everyone's favorite former SEC official. Former SEC official, that's what we're going to be saying, right? Mr. Brown Paperbag himself. You know what that means? They go out. They eat a nice steak. They give him a little tap under the table just like this. He reaches under, and suddenly, there's a brown paper bag full of cash, so he'll say something he never should have said. Then we get the classic setup. They talk about fraud. Do you see significant fraud? And he starts explaining how people repackage investment opportunities as tokens, misrepresentations, and all that. Look at this guy talking about fraud when he did exactly that. And here's the part people forget. He was told by the SEC staff, don't go on stage and dance that dance about a free pass for Ethereum. We're not giving it a free pass. And what does he do? Whatever. I'm doing it. I don't care. He had to do it. That's why he did it. Now we get to the part where it goes from interesting to, are you kidding me? Because we're about to look at documents and emails showing that Google had already chosen Ripple, back when it was called OpenCoin. The plan was to use this technology, to use XRP. Do you really think that changed? Of course not. It was delayed, people, delayed. I'll put it this way. I have never been this bullish on a coin. I don't care about the price right now. Everything is starting to make sense. This is why XRP was suppressed for so long. It wasn't random, it wasn't market forces, it was coordinated pressure and coordinated narratives. It's all starting to come together right here, and I want you to understand the framework. The claim is that if it weren't for Jeffrey Epstein and Austin Hill, Google would have implemented Ripple more than a decade ago. They wanted to wipe out the competition to protect Bitcoin. And then they show the email. They point to it and say, this email confirms it. Google chose Ripple. Google chose XRP. They plan to use and adopt it. Then it goes deeper. They link it to the powers that be, the private island stuff, the banking elites, the top powers from around the world. The logic they want to sell you is this. If Google chooses Ripple and OpenCoin and starts moving money globally with XRP, it triggers a massive rotation. People follow Google. When Google flips the switch, then Amazon and Alipay jump in. Big banks and governments join, and suddenly, Bitcoin no longer has the same narrative dominance. That's their argument. It would have triggered a run on Bitcoin. They refer to a redacted sender informing Jeffrey Epstein that Google plans to link their digital wallets with OpenCoin to launch payments in Africa. Then they show another part about the internet in Africa becoming primarily mobile. They quote Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, regarding infrastructure plans in Kenya. He spoke about Wi-Fi blimps and weather balloons across Africa, and you already know where they go next. Okay, Google thought about balloons. What do we have now? Elon Musk and Starlink. Satellite coverage everywhere in the world. Guys, this is getting bigger and bigger. Then they cover the rest. Low-cost connectivity for rural communities, broadband for urban areas, and Google making moves in digital payments. They point to Google Wallet. Then they point to a Google Ventures investment in OpenCoin, describing it as a digital ledger technology similar to Bitcoin. Their conclusion? Ripple was chosen over a decade ago. Everything Ripple has said is absolutely right. Everything they do is based on XRP. They aren't lying. Google is still on board. Everything was just delayed. Then they pivot to the politics and regulators. Jay Clayton, Bill Hinman, and then Gary Gensler, and the idea that there was coordination and timing. Gary Gensler shows up in 2018, linked to the Warren wing in their narrative, and then they connect dates around Bill Hinman's 2018 speech with the SEC's investigative stance. They bring up Ripple's claim. Ripple claims they met with the SEC from 2014 until the lawsuit was filed. They say Ripple was blindsided, and then use the story with the Jeffrey Epstein emails as the missing explanation for why the Google rollout didn't happen. Then they tone it down by saying Bitcoin won't disappear, framing them as two separate assets. Two different use cases: store of value versus currency conversion and cross-border payments. They say they went after Ripple because they were afraid of taking down the Bitcoin Ponzi scheme. Then they bring in Austin Hill, attacking Chris Larsen, an email chain to Reid Hoffman from Jeffrey Epstein, mentions of stays in New York for the General Assembly, Clinton, and the Island Ranch language. Then David Schwartz chimes in with the line that it wouldn't surprise him if this was just the tip of a massive iceberg. The picture they paint is that Jed McCaleb leaves Ripple, builds Stellar, and the elites decide that Ripple plus Stellar would be bad for Bitcoin. So they find ways to stop it, delay it, and bring it to its knees. They say they delayed it for nearly 12 years, and now, of course, they put the cherry on top. Trump will put an end to all this. This is all happening under Trump. So, here is what you should take away from this on a practical level, looking at it like an investor and not like a movie. In narratives like this, the goal is to make you emotional at the bottom and euphoric at the top. That's why I keep hammering the chart. That's why the RSI matters. That's why the levels matter. Because the moment you get caught emotionally, you become exit liquidity. When XRP is oversold, when it's stretched, when it's held down, that's when you want to be calm, not convinced the world is ending. And when it shoots up, you want to be disciplined. Don't be convinced it's going to infinity tomorrow. That's how you stay alive in the markets. Let's be real. People will argue about the emails, the interpretations, what's implied versus what's proven. That's fine. You don't have to marry every piece of the narrative to make money. You win by having a plan, sticking to levels, managing risk, and recognizing early what matters. It's about adoption, liquidity pathways, regulatory clarity, and market structure. Because whether you like Ripple or not, there's one thing you can't ignore. They've been building for a long time. They've made the right connections, and the entire world is moving toward faster settlements and better rails. The question is when, not if, the infrastructure shifts. And that's why I'm telling you, when we get a real catalyst, the chart can snap back faster than people think, and the same crowd that is scared at $1.60 will be screaming at $2.60, begging for a pullback that never comes. So, stay focused, stay rational, watch the levels, watch the RSI, watch the news flow, and don't let anyone hijack your emotions. Before we wrap this up, I want to give you something practical. Watching videos is nice, but having a system is better. Here's the truth. Most people lose money because they don't have a repeatable framework. They chase green candles. They panic sell red candles. They take tips from random accounts. And they never build a blueprint. If you've ever felt like you were too late or always 2 steps behind the market, this is how you fix it. It's not about predicting the future perfectly. It's about having a repeatable plan so that no matter what happens, you know what to do. That's what separates the people building wealth from the people just watching charts. And look, if this video helped you, do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel and share this with someone who needs it, because this story is evolving fast, and the people who stay calm and prepared are the ones who win.